Welcome to the Ohio Adult Allies Podcast Season 2, where we are developing, inspiring, and empowering youth leaders. In this episode, we discuss the Ohio Youth-Led Prevention Network, OYLPN.
Hello, and welcome to the Ohio Adult Allies Podcast. Today, I am so excited to talk about the Ohio Youth-Led Prevention Network, or OYLPN. Today, we have Gina Crosby and Karen Pennington here with us. And first, I'll introduce myself to all of you who haven't joined in a podcast before. I'm Holly Raffel from the Ohio University's Voinovich School of Leadership and Public Service. I'm so excited to be here. I started my involvement in youth-led prevention actually back when I was in high school. I was part of a group called Peer Counseling, and we did a lot of work in the space of alcohol and other drug use, as well as mental health promotion. And I've been just fortunate that Youth-Led has found me and continued throughout my career. Gina, welcome to the show today.
Hi, I'm Gina Crosby, and I currently work for Prevention Action Alliance as the Prevention Coordinator for Youth and Young Adult Services. And I actually got my start in youth-led prevention in high school as well, with a program called Youth to Youth. And I was fortunate enough to work in prevention as soon as I graduated high school, and continue to work in prevention and higher education and with young people, bringing me to this point where I get to work with the Ohio Youth-Led Prevention Network.
Thank you so much, Gina. Karen, tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Karen Pennington, and I'm actually up in Northwest Ohio, up in Wauseon. So I work for the Fulton County Health Department and the Fulton County Youth Advisory Council as one of their advisors. And I've been in this role for the past 10 years. Actually, I also started working with youth and wanting to be around youth. In college, I decided I was going to study youth development programs more through like 4-H and stuff. After college, got married and had kids, and then once again, like it kind of found me. I started working in the health department, and this YAC position was available, and it was just something that I just naturally fell into, and I have loved working with youth, and yeah, I'm just excited to see them grow and make changes in their world.
Thank you so much, Gina and Karen. I'm so excited that you're here today. And Gina, this first question is for you. Can you tell our audience what is OYLPN and what is the purpose of creating this group? Why did it come to be?
Yeah, so really, OYLPN, which I thankfully was actually a part of kind of the original conversations back in 2011, which is really cool to see, you know, the full picture from where it started to where it is now. And I think truly the purpose of it is to establish the statewide network to bring together all these youth-led programs from across the state to really create a community of practice around youth-led and build stability in delivery and grow capacity across the state. And it's really, you know, worked to establish these standards that can ensure longevity of youth-led programming and better engage with and support teens and adult allies across the state.
So how does OYLPN connect with the local youth-led programs?
So there's several different ways that OYLPN does connect and can connect with local programs. So there's kind of some different spaces there. So there's the Ohio Adult Allies, which has a couple of different components to it, like the Regional Learning Collaborative, and there's study groups. So there's youth-led programs across the state that are a part of those. There is the Youth Council. So we essentially ask for representatives from youth-led groups so that we can connect with them in that way, connect with their young people. OYLPN also offers training and technical assistance, partially in the form of those regional learning collaboratives, but also, you know, we could provide support to their local programming. And then outreach and engagement activities, which does include the youth council, but also the We Are the Majority rally that youth-led groups can attend. That is typically in the spring. And also some one-on-one things. If somebody calls us and has some questions or wants us to come out and maybe, sit through a group or get some feedback or just really wants to, get some support, then we can connect with them in that way. They can connect with us.
Wow, thank you for giving us the rundown on OYLPN and the many resources that are available. Karen, from your perspective as a local adult ally, how have you connected with OYLPN?
Well, over my 10 years of working with youth in Fulton County here, we have had about 6 individuals that have participated in OYLPN. And it's just always been exciting that they wanted to take that next step and get involved on a state level, and to be able to see the activities that they can be involved in, and they bring that back to our group, and it just really provides a lot of energy in our group. We have participated in the We Are the Majority rally, and there's a lot of excitement about that, and just being able to just be together with other like-minded youth that are wanting to make a difference, and saying that we are the majority, they are the majority, making positive life choices. And so we've also participated in Legislative Day, where our kids were able to meet with our county or with our legislators and to talk with them. And it's just a lot of great opportunities for the youth that we've had that are involved, and we always encourage youth to join OYLPN.
So Karen, what I'm hearing from you is you've had individual youth join in activities with OYLPN, but you as a group have also connected with OYLPN. So why is it important for local youth groups to make that connection with OYLPN?
I just think it's a great resource. They have a lot of connections in the state, and as we are working on projects in our group, every year works through the strategic prevention framework planning process. And as we look at what issues are facing our youth, to know that there are greater resources and on the state level that they can connect with and bring back to the county and make a difference. So I just think it's a great opportunity.
Thank you. And Gina, from your perspective, why is it important for OYLPN to connect with local youth groups?
So I think this answer is like the root, I think, of why OYLPN exists. So really, it's those connections that strengthen each individual local group, which in turn strengthens the statewide effort in youth-led prevention. And these connections, like I talked about in the beginning, is what helps to develop that common language, which creates a collective understanding and ensures that young people across the state have access to evidence-based youth-led programming. And I kind of think of this in terms of baking a cake. So each individual ingredient is fine on its own. It can do its own things. That's fine. But when they all come together, they make something amazing. So many groups that are a part of OYLPN existed before OYLPN and would probably still exist if OYLPN was never created. And they would serve young people, and they would do good work. But by bringing everyone together and developing that common understanding, building on prevention science, it changes the way that we understand the entire statewide effort in youth-led prevention. And without each of these local groups, OYLPN is nothing. It doesn't exist. So without, all of this engagement from these programs, we can't understand needs to support and provide resources like Karen was talking about to these local groups that aren't willing to engage or connect on a statewide level.
I love the analogy of baking a cake, right? And that really is something that we can think about and carry forward. Karen, as a local youth-led adult ally, can you tell me what some barriers that you've seen for folks to connect with OYLPN?
Right. Well, like I said, we're up in Fulton County, which a lot of people wouldn't know. We are one of the counties up in the northwest corner. And it is about a 3-hour drive for our youth to be able to attend meetings. And so that can be a barrier, it's just the distance. But on the flip side of that as well, I know that COVID has caused us to look at different resources for connecting with people. And this Zoom is a very doable option. And so that does make it a little bit easier. Also, our teens are just busy. They are so busy. They're in sports. They're in, they're taking college classes at the age of 14, so there's just a lot of that kind of stuff that I know that our kids are busy with. But when they look at the benefit of belonging to a group like OYLPN and all the connections that they can make to help them for their future, I just think it's really invaluable too.
Absolutely, thank you. And Gina, from your lens, I'm sure that you hear some barriers, but you also have to find solutions. So could you talk a little bit about maybe any more barriers you've heard and how OYLPN finds solutions to those barriers, whether it's for individuals to participate or groups to participate, like for example, in the rally?
Yeah, so I think one of the other barriers that we've noticed is just turnover. I think a lot of smaller organizations, maybe people are working for health departments, they may not really be getting paid to lead these youth-led prevention groups. There can be a high turnover rate in staff even to getting a youth-led program established to even connect with us. So I think that's one of the barriers too. And obviously the pandemic has only made that a little bit worse probably. But even prior to, I think that and just general buy-in, I think, it's not something, it does take resources, whether it's to drive here, whether it's, to commit to all-day trainings or whatever it is, and buy-in can be an issue. And if people aren't bought in, then they don't really see the purpose in engaging. But I do think that to overcome this, it's starting small. So I think like local programs just starting small, and that's, the regional learning collaboratives can definitely play a role in that. And I think that's one thing that OYLPN has created that can benefit local programs is instead of having to make the drive to Columbus to get trainings, you can connect with somebody in your own backyard that may, live in a similar area as you, may understand your demographics a little bit better, and you don't have to drive as far. So, it makes a 3-hour training, 8 hours to drive to Columbus when it's only going to make it truly a 3-hour training because it could be 20 minutes from you. So I think those RLCs have really been a benefit to people across the state to overcome some of those barriers of distance and resources and things like that. And I think the other piece of it is, trying to, on our side, offer more virtual options. So, pre-pandemic, I don't think that was something that was ever really thought about could be done. But we've obviously proven that during the pandemic, we can do it. So we're going to continue in that way after the pandemic. It's, we want to move in a more hybrid approach so that if groups can't get to the rally in May, we still want to make sure that people can be a part of it. Can we do a virtual piece as well? Is there things that we can do with the youth council? If they can't make it, how can we engage them in a virtual way so they can still be a part of meetings, even if they can't make that 3-hour drive to and from Columbus, once a month on Saturdays. So I think really moving into, this century in really using technology as our friend and trying to figure out how we can engage as many people as we can and still get good work done.
Thank you so much. And I think looking into the future is a good segue into our next question. So what are the goals, Gina, for OYLPN for this coming year?
I think this is a broad question. We've talked a lot about this year as a group and where we want to go. So I think, the words that come to mind, I guess, are strengthen. We want to strengthen what we have already created in those connections and all of that has been built over the years. And we also want to continue to build. We want to engage more people. We want to engage more young people. We want to engage more adults not just adults in prevention, but we want to engage, teachers, anybody that may, have come in contact with a young person, right? We want to build that. We want to collaborate better. We want to work better with people. Instead of it just being more of a transactional situation, we want to have conversations. We want to help. We want to be a support year round, at any moment that they may need support. And we want to grow. OYLPN has been around for going into 11 years now, and it's grown from what it was originally, but I still think that there's a lot of growing to do. I think we, on our team have a lot of ideas and thoughts, and we really want to grow so that we can really, really have an impact statewide and maybe fill some empty spaces that we don't really have involvement around the state, and really try to make it a full statewide effort.
So Karen, we've talked a lot about OYLPN today, and we have a lot of our listeners out there who are trying to make that decision. Should I connect? What's my next step? Karen, what thoughts would you give our listeners out there how to take this information and put it into action?
I think that they should just, try it out. Attend a meeting, attend an event that is sponsored by OYLPN, and just see if it's a good fit for them. And I think that once they try it, they will see what a great impact it can make for their youth and their youth in the state, and how it can make a big difference in that way. So I think just give it a try. I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Thanks, Karen. So Gina, can you tell us a little bit about how to connect and how to take that next step, and any thoughts you would have for that adult ally who's on the fence listening to this podcast today?
Yeah, so, I think the ways that you can start to kind of connect, I guess, are just really through websites. So preventionactionalliance.org, ohio.allies.com. There's a lot of good resources on both of those. Social media, we often update social media. You can always contact me or Juliana, and you can sign up for the newsletter to stay up to date. Those are just some easy things that you can do to start to see what's happening, what we're doing, what's going on. But also, I think just start with creating connections in your own community. Maybe you're not ready to get to this statewide level yet. That's okay. But creating connections is really the heart of OYLPN, because that's the heart of youth-led, is really creating those connections. So it's those authentic connections that really build trust and empower young people. So if you can start that in your own community and build that in your own, small community, large community, whatever it is, then maybe you can build some capacity and have be able to overcome some of those barriers we talked about earlier a little bit better, to want to and be able to reach out and connect with OYLPN. But like Karen said, just give it a try, even if it's something small at first. Attend a regional learning collaborative meeting that's in your region, or just maybe reach out through email or our newsletter, whatever it might be. Start small, and then we can grow from there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Karen and Gina, for being with us today. And as we know, our listeners out there, like Gina said, when we're baking a cake, all those ingredients stand up on their own, but we would love for you to be part of OYLPN, so all those ingredients can come together to make something really fabulous. And all it starts is with visiting the OYLPN website, and then you can take it from there. Thanks so much, everybody. We appreciate you listening in to this episode of the Ohio Adult Allies podcast.
Thank you for joining us today on the Ohio Adult Allies podcast. If you would like more information on our work, visit us at ohioadultallies.com. You can find more episodes on Spotify, iTunes, and other platforms by searching Ohio Adult Allies.